Hey everybody, welcome back to Isyour6covered, and we are doing Into the Fire, part 4 of a series, working as a team. Basically, this series is about people in the firefighting industry or trying to become a firefighter, and different ways, different things you can learn that will hopefully help you succeed in the world of firefighting. Am I the know-all? No, I'll never claim that. It's just things I've seen over the years that may help. Got my sweet tea with my NASCAR Hall of Fame cup. So really falling into the South here. I love it. But we'll get started. I can see there's a couple people that already popped up. Let me say hello. And we'll get going. This one I just was bored, figured I'd come up with a quick topic, and maybe a long one, maybe a short one. But teamwork. There's a lot that goes into being in any type of team, whether it's a sport, whether it's a career, whether it's just a job, depending on what you're. And being able to work with people, can be can be hard at times, especially if you're not familiar with maybe group sports as you're a kid, learning that one person on a team can't do everything, and it makes life go a little bit easier in the fire service if you understand that. Hey Fuzzy, to you, man. Teamwork is obviously what it says. It's team, and you hear that expression of "there's no I in team," and that's correct. We don't spell team with an I. A lot of things evolve when you get into the fire service. First, you're the new person, and you grow strong relationships with your fellow firefighters, whether you're brothers or sisters. And it just takes a lot of getting used to, a lot of new stuff. But going in with the idea of you're going to be working as a team definitely helps out. You hear the people that said, "Oh, I did this and I did that, and I can do this and I can do that." It's not going to work anymore. Everything should be we. Try to really get the vocabulary of saying we down. Not only does it make you look better in the group's eyes, because more than likely you didn't do something, it was a group effort. Now you may have worked on a certain thing, but in an overall scheme of things, the group was working on other stuff, which in turn made the whole thing work out. So that's how the team concept basically goes in there. I'm going to kind of just go over some things here in this series. I think this series is more or less just something to maybe listening to while you're driving on the street or whatever the case is. Just kind of, obviously, like I said in the other videos, it's more of an audio thing that's going to be useful. You can plug it into your car and drive for an hour or whatever, and maybe learn something, maybe not. If you have any questions or comments out there that hopefully I can answer, go ahead and put them down in the comments below. But as far as starting out, hopefully you've had the concept of the team thing, whether it was basketball, soccer, baseball, any type of athletics like that. Maybe you worked for some type of business that was also very team oriented, which definitely helps out. So we'll get kind of cracking here in a minute. But some of the things I'm going to talk about tonight is the zoo, right? The zoo. What's the zoo, Rick? Well, the zoo, we call it the workplace zoo. And I learned it going to a supervisory class, I think it was a couple years ago now. And hey, Gimp Geek, is this going to make me a firefighter? No, it's not going to make you a firefighter, Gimp Geek. But it may give you something that you can use in your everyday life, especially this workplace zoo that I'm going to be talking about here shortly. This can be utilized in any type of office setting, whether you're in a large business or maybe let's just say a small mom and pop store. So the workplace zoo, and I'll get into some more team stuff here in a minute, but trying to give you guys an idea of how things can be good even if they have weaknesses. So everybody has their strong points and their weak points. Basically, they're something that they're really good at and something that they could obviously, utilize some more training on, or they're struggling with, whatever the case is. And that's just how it is. Life is like that. We all have our good things and our bad things. So let's see here. Yeah, don't throw me off, Gimke. We call it the workplace zoo. And if you take a sheet of paper, let me see if I can find one real quick. An empty one's probably not going to be possible. I come ill prepared, my friends. Let's see if I can find one, though. All right, so we'll use this piece of paper. And you'll break it into 4 categories, like this. And I'll show you here in a second. But you're going to have a lion. You're going to have a peacock. You're going to have a lamb. And an owl. Maybe some of you guys have seen this before. I tell you what, I did this to our complete department. And when you get back all the data, you can really learn a lot about each individual as a whole, how people perceive you. And let me erase this. So we talked about the peacock, the lion, the lamb, and the owl. There's also one other individual in here. We'll call him the chameleon, right? So here's how it looks. You basically have the peacock, the lion, the owl, and the lamb. Now, lion, you got to think of like courageous, wants to be in charge, is a leader, right? The lion, the mighty lion. Think of the peacock as someone that fluffs up their feathers and says, "Hey, look at me," whether it's showing off their muscles or just wants attention, talks a lot. The lamb is we'll start with the owl. We'll go this way. The owl is someone that you think of as wise, has a lot of knowledge, someone that people go to maybe ask questions. And then you have the lamb. And the lamb, you think, oh, man. And I was a lamb, and I still am a lamb. But it's basically someone that cares about the department, wants to make sure that everything's working good, everybody's happy, everything's running smoothly, and doesn't really want to, cause effect. If people have questions, depending on what the option is, they may go to the owl, the lamb, the peacock, or the lion. But think of the lion as a leader. Think of the peacock as someone that wants to show how good they are, or maybe show their feathers per se. The lamb is someone that wants to help you, wants to make sure everything's running smooth. And the owl, like I said, basically with all of them, is the wise person. Okay, and inside is the chameleon, and the chameleon is in its own little separate area because you have the ability to be more than one thing. So what I did was I took the department, and I took each shift, and I went through a list of every employee that we had. And basically working together and knowing everybody, we knew what the answers were going to be for the most part. There was some shocking results, but we gave everybody what their perception of each person was. So they said, "Hey, Rick, where do you think you put yourself in here?" And what we did was we really broke this down, and we did it even more detailed than how the class was to tell you how to do it. But if the person was, like, say, a lamb, but people kind of go to them, ask them questions, you may be over here, right? So this box right here represents the lamb. The farther away from here, like to the owl, so say if I was way over here, I would just be a lamb. But if somebody placed somebody right here, 60% of them would be lamb, but the other percentage would be owl, but they didn't get into the owl section. Same with the lion. You'll have people that are leaders, they're A-type personalities, and in the fire service there is a lot of A-type personalities. And in order to make the fire department work, and I think in order to make a crew or a team work even better together, is to have a representation of all these. You can have a leader, you can have more than one leader, but let's just say you had an engine company or a truck company or even a department that was all of one thing, all peacocks. You know, hey, look at me, I'm badass, I did this, I did that, I did this. Or a lion, maybe they all want to be leaders, which is kind of good. But you need some wisdom in there, and you need some people that are going to protect. You know, like the lamb, making sure everything's working right and everybody's cohabitating well and everything's working out good. So, in my opinion, in order to make a good company, whether it's a truck company, engine company, whatever the case is, to have a little bit of flavor of all of these. So I'm not saying everything needs to be, you know, one of each, you know, but if you have a little bit more out there than just one animal, you have the ability to, I think, tackle different things that are going to be a little bit easier when you arrive on scene. Arrive on scene, work in your everyday thing. Maybe you got two crews, you know, you got an engine crew and a truck crew, and to make everything just kind of work more smoothly. So that's kind of how it works. So basically I took every person, we all sat down in the training room as a crew. So it was like the engine and truck crew would show up, and I'd go over this whole big spiel, and there's a lot more to it. I'm kind of just scratching the surface. Kind of give you an idea. But everybody wrote their names, and then there's some other paperwork, and I'll hand them, and it's to basically say, well, where do you think you are on this list? Do you think you're a lion, a peacock, a lamb, an owl, or a chameleon? And so they would put it down and they would circle it, their initials on there, and then they would do the rest of the department. So you could take the individual sheets, and let's just say me as example, I put myself as a lamb, right? I know I'm in the department, I'm the carrying one. Not that the other people aren't carrying, but like I really strongly feel that I need to make sure that the department's running smoothly. Everybody's not for the most part happy, but that's what we're striving to see. But everything's working smooth. There's no hiccups, no bumps in the road. You know, just really trying to make things copacetic. So, you know, I put myself right in the middle of the lamb, and then each person, you know, they put theirs, and I got feedback from every individual, you know, and I had a chance to sit down with each person that really wanted to see how they portrayed themselves in the fire department, and how it may differ from what they think. Maybe the one guy's thinking, oh yeah, I'm a lion, I'm a strong leader, I'm this and that, and then, you know, the department as a whole may say, oh no, you're a peacock, you know. And all these, if you pick any one of these, there's nothing that's wrong. There's nothing wrong with being a leader. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, look, I did a good job. You know, or hey, you know, I got some wisdom. People are coming to me for knowledge, or, you know, you want to help the department, or whatever kind of job that you're going to utilize this in. So it's kind of a really cool thing. So no matter what section you're in, it doesn't really matter. There's no way to say that it's a negative to you, because everything, there's really no bad answer. So that's what makes it nice. I mean, there's no reason to be butthurt if you're a lion, an owl, a lamb, or a peacock. And there's more things that are involved in here with like, you know, with like the owl, the lion, the peacock, and the lamb that I didn't go over. I'm just trying to keep it short. But it makes for a pretty good thing. So each person that wanted to, they could sit down afterwards after I kind of tallied up all the things. And what I did was I said, well, you know, firefighter, whatever, say they want to see. Now, and I'd show it to them. I said, so you're right here where you circled your perception of how you feel you are. And then this is how you portray yourself in the department. Maybe you're, you know, maybe you really thought you were an owl. You know, people are, you thought that you were the person that people come to get information, but in retrospect, your perception in the department is maybe you're a leader, and you didn't know it. Maybe that, so it's kind of cool. They're like, oh, I really never thought about that, and then you can kind of go, because you work with these guys. Oh, I remember that one time, and they're like, oh yeah, I never really thought of that. That's cool, that's pretty neat, So it's kind of neat to figure out what you think you are, and then you take this test, and it asks you lots of questions like, what would you do if this happened? And then you circle the answer, and there's point values and stuff. And depending on how you fall into a category of the peacock, lion, owl, or lamb. So then after answering those questions, it's asking you good questions. It's asking you lots of stuff that you have to really decipher and decide on what you want to do to answer this. So it's kind of you're like, oh, you know what? I really feel strong about that. I'm going to put, really feel strong about it, or whatever it is. And then that may draw you over into a different section that you really thought you weren't in. So it's kind of neat. So there's a lot of stuff. I think when you have like, I can give you a good example. The chief officers, we have the fire chief, and then we have battalion chiefs. And what was really cool is when we took the class, all of us got to take this class. And out of the 4 of us, we filled every position of that. It wasn't 3 lions and 1 other. It wasn't 1 of those and 3 of these, or 2 of those and 2 of that. It was actually 1 of each. And it was really cool, because I really feel that makes, it can make a good department. If you have chief officers that fill all those areas, you have the guy you can go ask questions about too. Or, you need some good leadership, you can go hit that guy up, or whatever the case is. So it's kind of nice to really fulfill all 4 portions of that box. Now, if you have the ability, and people were scoring people in the chameleon box, and that was really cool, because that means you're very talented. Basically, you have the ability to lead. You have the ability to be the wise person, the lamb, to take care of, kind of thing, to be able to be the peacock as well. So it's kind of nice that certain people put in certain people's names in there, and I was like, man, that's really awesome. That's cool that worked out like that. And then you're like, you know what? And what was kind of neat is we hired a new guy, a retired guy that he came over from a different department. Really great guy, very smart, very knowledgeable guy. And now we're lucky enough to have him as a battalion chief. And because we lost a great guy as well that retired out from us. But really fit in the spot well. He has the ability to be all of those positions, which is really nice. And the position that he filled, kind of with 3 battalion chiefs and the chief officer, or the fire chief, was the owl position. And it kind of worked out really good, because he does fit the role. He does fit that. We didn't end up really having, like 2 of one and 1 of another. So that was kind of nice. But the system, if you utilize it the way it's meant to, and you could probably go online maybe somewhere and find this, or take a class that talks about this information. You can learn a lot about yourself. You can learn most of it you already know, or at least, unless you get blown away and after you answer all those questions, you're like, wow, I didn't know I was that. I really thought I was this. But being able to fulfill positions on the units, I think, is really cool. Having the ability to have all 4 of those, if you're lucky enough. What's kind of neat about the thing is when you take like the captains, like I took the captains and I made my own sheet with just the captains on it. And you could, hey, weapons machinist, A4, how's it going, guys? You get all the information how everybody in the department portrays the captains. And you can find out who people think are the leaders, and the owls, and the peacocks, and the lambs. And you're like, wow, okay. And what's neat is if you really need to fill a hole, say you had 2 guys that were perfectly matched up, same scores on maybe on their fire captain test, or whatever the case is, and you really wanted to like break it down even more of the perception of the person, right? depending on what hole you're trying to fill, you could utilize that information. And I'm not talking about fire department. This could be anything. It says, hey, Truth Freeze. Hey, firemen still rescue cats? Yeah, it's possible. I've never seen a cat skeleton, though, in a tree. So you have the ability to kind of go, you know what, this gentleman may work a lot better on this shift. This gentleman may work better on this shift. So it's kind of, there's a lot of information if you break it down and you do it by position, as far as rank. Or if you're trying to fill a hole, you can go, oh yeah, this guy, he kind of fits in the category of, one of these four. And this guy does this, and this guy does this. It might be better to mend him, or to have a mentor him with the same type of animal. They could possibly get along a little better. So that's kind of, you could really use this in a lot of information. So that's a quick thing on the zoo, the workplace zoo. You can turn that into I could turn that into 8 hours of talking on here with, it's really cool. I mean, if you have if I had the time and ability to go to a department and they wanted to know stuff about their people, you could take all that down, take all that information, break it down to all the positions, and you can find out what you have, what the department needs. You could find out a lot of stuff. And I won't get too deep into it, but it's really cool, and it's kind of fun. The guys seem to enjoy it. It wasn't like going to get their teeth pulled or anything, so that's kind of cool. But we talked about this. We talked about the we or the I. When you're in the fire service or any place where you're working as a team, don't try to use the word I. It's going to look bad with the other guys. They're not going to be like, what do you mean I didn't do nothing. We all did this. So really try to use the word we, especially if you're a supervisor, because more than likely, with delegation of maybe some work, and your guys outside busting their ass doing stuff for you, it's a we thing for sure. As you get higher into the ranks, definitely use the word we. The fire chief, I can say he does a lot of work. He does a lot of stuff that I don't even want to have to ever deal with. It's a position I would never want. So I can say him, and use it in that format, and that's good. But, he's a we guy too as well, and that's how you need to be when you're up in those ranks. He has a lot of people that work underneath him, and if things go bad, it's his ass on the line. So we definitely try to make sure that we as a group keep him out of trouble, as well as keeping us out of trouble, because as they say, poop rolls downhill, right? So if he doesn't like something that he's seeing or hearing, it's going to be a recourse will be headed downhill. So why do you have a picture of a cross? Picture of a cross. Oh, this thing? You showed up late, Truth Freeze. This has to do with the workplace zoo and how that works. And I may do a video on just this. Can you even see it, actually? The lighting sucks. Have I met him? No. Do I believe? Yes. A firefighter's question. No, I haven't met him. Is he there? We hope and pray he is. Amen. So with that said, you guys love screwing me up, huh? For this one, I didn't really have many questions. If you guys have some questions about firefighting stuff, and if I can answer them, I will give it a good attempt. If I don't know the answer, I'll definitely tell you I don't know, because I don't want to steer you in the wrong direction. And a lot of it is going to be department related. So, it's like, how many trucks does the fire department have? Well, it's going to depend on the fire department. You know what I mean? So don't make it too departmental But basically today's topic, and I think we're just basically starting out here pretty short. Yeah, well, it's gone by pretty fast actually. So 24 minutes. Team orientation, team building, team this, team that, team this, team that is a huge thing. And it's all just basically, it has to start when you're a young person and you're in groups. And if not, groups meaning soccer, if you guys are just joining us right now, some type of sport where you're obviously not the only one that's doing it. Now if you're just, all you ever did was say BMX race, motocross race, downhill ski, things that are just single person, horse race, a lot of that is kind of a team per se with all the other people helping you out and coaching and that kind of stuff. But like real team-oriented sports where you rely on each person on the field or whatever the case is. At what temperature does wood spontaneously combust? LOL. Stan. This man, he's like one of the smartest guys on YouTube, and he wants to know something silly as that. It probably depends on the wood, Stan, and what the fuel moisture is and all sorts of stuff. So heard many house fires from 9 volts uncovered. Surprised. Yeah, there is instances where 9 volts, especially if the polarities get mixed up and backwards, where they're kind of coming in together, you can you will see stuff. If you have steel wool, that kind of stuff, you can get a fire as well. I mean, that's a great way to start a fire if you are in an emergency. 9 volt and some steel wool as well. I mean, there's other little pieces of metal you can use, like what's that called? Bubble gum wrapper stuff. You could do a double A's and that kind of stuff. Was he black? Who's that? Jesus? I don't know. I didn't see him. I already answered that. Let's see. So working as a team. What do you guys think are some of the important things about working as a team? Team related. Give me some of your thoughts on team stuff. I think there's a difference between a sporting event kind of team and then the team of relying on somebody for possibly their life. So whether you're a cop, a firefighter, in the military, where you really got to have someone covering your six or your butt, as they say, it's definitely a notch above any sporting event. And that's the reason why I think the fire department and the police department, they really got to work together as a team. But with that, meaning the camaraderie, having fun, getting used to the people that are here, and just wondering, trying to get everything together so that when that time comes, whether it's a fire or an active shooter and they have to go in and enter the building, they know that the other person's going to protect them or drag them out if they get injured or hurt, or if something collapses on them. He knows that the firefighter is going to try to, maybe get that big heavy beam off of them and drag them to safety or whatever the case is. Team stuff, my friends, team stuff. With responsibility, there's got to be incentives. Responsibility, I'm going to go with promotions, right? Yeah, as you promote through the channels, whether you're just promoting from probationary, now you're not on probation anymore. Incentives are huge. Incentives are this, maybe a promotion, or maybe just being able to go to the next class. Having the responsibility going, you know what, I need to learn more about this, so I need to go take that class. And I think a lot of that, and some people are totally different. You may find a guy, he may have got hired, he went through his probation, he's a firefighter, and he loves it. He doesn't want to promote. He doesn't want to take any more classes, which is kind of bad, and it's, the job of the supervisor to try to steer him into saying, you know what, you really should work on, as I said in the other videos, checking off some boxes. Can fire responders carry? Captain Pizza, how's it going? Weapons machinist is out there. So the question, can fire responders carry? On a normal, everyday kind of engine crew, truck crew kind of thing, the answer that I'm going to give you is no. Now, is there departments out there that have? Maybe, probably. There's organizations within the fire department that have prevention officers that do carry, depending on how large the department is. They may have their own bureau, arson bureau. They're basically, it's a prevention bureau, but basically they do arson investigations, cause and origin, that kind of stuff, where they're going out and questioning, maybe the neighbors, or they're questioning suspects. And those people do carry. And a lot of them are post-certified, full-on police academy, depending on the department, of course. But that's basically it. And he says, sorry for off the subject. No, that's fine. This one's just going to be kind of a makeshift, have fun, teamwork deal. But I'm going to try to keep it at an hour, because if they're too long, no one's going to watch them afterwards. It's just too much to try to digest. A4 is asking about, somebody said he met him. No, I didn't. How much training and refreshers are done? Well, your EMT, you're going to have to, every 2 years, you're going to have to do a refresher, whether it's CEs, continued education, basically units. And that can be, you need 24 hours of continuing education units within the 2-year period. And you're going on calls and stuff. That's what's keeping you, the wheels oiled, basically. Different stuff like confined space rescue, you need to do every year. Hazmat FRO, our first responder operations. What is it, 2 years? I can't remember. There's so many classes and so many things you got to do. Here in Detroit, they need to LOL. Oh yeah, you're talking about still carrying. Yeah, if they can, and they should. And would I have a problem with it? No, not per se. I don't think everybody should carry. Maybe the company officer or something like that, but I don't know. That's a moral question. It's like, should one person have a gun? No, but should they all have a gun? Maybe. So I don't know. That's probably why you don't see them. And a lot of times, if we're running to a domestic abuse call or something like that, the police officers, the sheriffs, the whatever your law enforcement agency is out there, they're going to clear the scene before fire gets there anyways, is what's supposed to happen. Let's see. Do firefighters have powers of arrest? Those certain ones that I was talking about do. But no, there's people that can write permits, or not permits. There's people that can write citations and that kind of stuff, but we leave most of that to the law enforcement or the fire side of law enforcement. Said they have lost a bunch in an explosion. Let me go back here. No. Okay. Thought it ended again. I'm having problems with my computer. So tell me if we're up and running still, guys. It looks like we are. Internet's crap today, I guess. Yep, still live. It's Sean. All right, so what is the physical requirements for aging firefighters? Kind of a department-related thing as well. Depending on the agency, you may have just a pack test, which is a 45-pound pack for 3 miles, and you have to do it in under 45 minutes. It can be as simple as that. You could have full agility tests that they got to complete every year. They have regular physical, maybe just physicals that they need in, as long as they pass that. So that's kind of a department related thing. There's really no answer that works for that. And age-wise, that's more department related too. Hey, 4, if you can't come up with any more questions, I'm gonna have to pretend you're not there. How intense of medical first aid CPR bleeds is done? What? Let's see. How intense of medical first aid CPR bleeds is done? How intense of medical first aid? So if you're talking about taking the CPR class or first aid class, how intense of medical? Truth freeze, if you can rewrite that question so I can figure it out. There was a fireman, let's see, weapons machinist there's a fireman in a big white beverage semi out front, dry humping my fire hydrant today. There was a fireman. Hey, 420 Homestead, what's up, buddy? Glad you're still alive. Do the qualification standards reflect age? Some. I know some people use what is considered the Air Force. I think it's the Air Force requirements, where they do like push-ups, sit-ups, that kind of stuff. And depending on your age bracket, you follow the column down, and you have to do this amount of sit-ups, this amount of push-ups, pull-ups. So some departments, yeah. Is it all one standard? No, it isn't. If you took all the departments in the United States, they're all going to be a little bit different. In the federal one, the PAC test that I was talking about is a national test. So it's a lot of times, a lot of departments will come up with some crazy gnarly something, and then people get injured or die. And people have died from the PAC test as well. But our firefighters have died from the PAC test as well. But when they go off on a limb on something that's not federally recognized, unless that department has done all the testing and that kind of stuff to hold them not responsible if somebody gets injured. So there's a lot of stuff involved in that. Or is it one standard? No. All right. Let's see. Has to vary by sex though, right? And actually, I don't know. After seeing that last, I think it's all by age. In there may be a woman's section in there. I'm not sure. That is a good answer. Our question. I think it's a paramedic quals, is it not? Stan Alt, what was the first question he put? As far as paramedic stuff, where's the question at again? Let's see. See the protective, okay, yeah, with protective gear, climbing, etc. Suppose you must be in pretty good health. Yeah, the protective gear, your SCBA, your self-contained breathing apparatus, some equipment that you have in your pockets, like webbing and flashlights and all that kind of shit. It all adds up. Hey, Franco, how's it going? All that stuff adds up. Plus, you may be carrying a pack of hose. You may have a Rick bag with a bunch of stuff in it. It depends on the call, of course, but you're going to be carrying a lot of stuff. So the better physical condition you're in, yeah, especially cardio. If you can, cardio is pretty damn huge. I mean, you don't have to be the huge muscle guy, and I kind of talked about it in the other, I think it was part 2 or 3, but if you have the ability to do it, but cardio, if you can get back on, if you can take a break for 1 minute and then you're like refreshed, where you're that fast, that's definitely going to help you. Say you run a flight of stairs, 14 flights, and then you have all that stuff on. When you get to the top, if you're so broken off that you can't put the fire out, then that may be something that you need to work on. And I'm there right now. I need to work on my cardio and my building some muscle back up. But heat stress, yeah. So with all that stuff you're wearing, it's definitely hot. It's definitely and as technology, the clothing's getting better, lighter, more breathable, more flexible. You're able to lift your arms up higher. Um, so with technology, it makes it a little bit easier, a little bit better. Why do all firefighters dip instead of smoke? Oh, actually, I seen when there's still a few smokers out there. It's a lot of departments are shunning it. And they're doing what do they call it? Grandfathering in, I guess. If you're around before the rule came in, they're allowed to per se. But yeah, times are changing. People are getting a lot more healthier than they were. But yeah, dipping obviously doesn't mess with your lungs, but you might not end up with the lip afterwards. So it's all bad for you. I'm just trying to figure out. All right, so all the ones I know just chew. Yeah, there's a lot to chew. There's a lot, I'd say 99% more that chew than anything. There's hardly a few that don't do anything, basically. Most chew. I'd say a good 30% of them. 30% don't do anything is what I'm trying to say, which is awesome. And then you got Stan, Fire Marshal Bill. So, Station 24, Engine 3, Medic 3. Okay. Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. What are better type gas masks for radiation? You know what? That's weird. That's something I haven't spent any of my prepping money on radiation mask, or basically I couldn't tell you. I don't know which is good. I would say the one where you're getting more visibility, you know, probably if you have the ability to spend maybe a hair more on the better one, but it has a lot to do with cartridges. Which cartridges can you buy at a decent price? You may be able to find that mask real cheap, but the cartridges are 3 times more than the other ones. So in the long term, you might save a lot more money buying the little more expensive one. But I'm not huge on gas masks, so I don't know much about it. We wear respirators. We wear all sorts of different types of respirators, but we don't wear gas masks. Well, kind of. We have gas masks, but not like you're talking about. Let's see. Living in color. BC truck rebuild and repairs out there. How often do they feed you bacon? Not enough. No, you know what? Around the station, it's a lot more health conscious now than it was a long time ago. We used to make huge meals of just shit that would give you a heart attack, triple bacon burgers and, just guys having fun making some concoctions of heart attack, basically. And you see a lot more salads and, finer meats, less fatty meats like chicken and fish and that kind of stuff. So can you bring bacon with you to a fire and kill 2 birds? Yeah, that'd be kind of cool, huh? Put it on the end of your pike pole, and by the time you're done with the fire, you'll have some nice bacon. Let's see. Oh, I guess I meant respirators. Sorry. So that question was, what are the better types of respirators for radiation? Yeah. Once you use the word radiation, I don't know. Our hazmat units, all our department, not our hazmat units. We don't have a hazmat unit. The county responds if we have a hazmat. But they're all Scots, SCBAs, and depending on what year they're manufactured and that stuff. But it's top of the line gear, and it's I think most departments now, maybe at least on that side of the world, on the West Coast, run Scots. So, but that's what we use. Now it's just double bacon burgers. Haha. Yeah, now we're just doing double bacon burgers, Captain Pizza. You got to be healthy. You got to be healthy. So just 2 patties now. there is a lot of people. That's kind of something we could talk about. If you're a probationary firefighter, and we're not even on probationary firefighter, we're working as a team. But working as a team could be getting your ass in there, helping cook. Some people really enjoy cooking, and some people dread it. When I worked at a state department, at one time it was a Schedule B station, which is wildland firefighting station. Schedule A is structural and that kind of stuff. But at one time we'd make meals for 14, 15 people. And on I think it was your third day, the third day you were the cook. So you'd be making some big ass meals. You'd wake up super early in the morning, make sure breakfast was ready about 6:30, and then make sure lunch was ready. And you're hoping to go on a fire so you didn't have to make dinner as well. But you're cooking for 14 people, 15 people. Some departments probably even cook for more than that. But there's a lot of things to think about. Being able to, especially if you're new, if you're younger, you just got in the fire service, got your job, and they're like, okay, cook for 15 people, here you go. It's like, holy shit. It's like, last thing I made was mac and cheese before I got a job, So there's a big learning curve. Being able to have maybe 2, 3, 4 meals that you're really good at or people really enjoy, being able to cook that will definitely save you. If you're the person that, and I can still remember, I think her name was, can't remember what her name was, Shelly or something like that. She cooked at this station. They would go and buy food for a month, basically. And everything was like, if you wanted spaghetti, you didn't buy Prego, you bought all the ingredients to make spaghetti. So everything was like handmade, and you had to like really know what the hell you're doing, or you're going to have 14, 15 guys that hated you because they're hungry because they didn't want to eat that shit. But so this one, it was a female firefighter, and she made bread. She decided to make bread, and she made these. They're like a chalk block. A chalk block's like a wedge that goes in front of the wheel, so your equipment doesn't run down the road. So we cut it out. We cut it out and made it look like a chalk block, and we put it over on the rig. She was all pissed off, but it's a practical joke, kind of having fun with the crew, kind of deal. The team cohesion, fun stuff. That's what builds and makes everybody enjoy each other, basically. So BC was the wifey handy with the who's. Oh, here we go. Let's see. So I was a long hauler trucker for years, and I lived next to a firehouse. How come all my children grew up to be firemen? How come all of them grew up to be firefighters? Let's see. Because they got to see how much fun those guys and gals had for a long time, I guess, if you grew up in that, or they grew up in that house. And you know what? Something that you may not know, if you live next to a fire station, you would know this, but if you don't, you would know, is every morning is vehicle checkout. And vehicle checkout consists of running the lights, running the sirens, checking all the stuff, checking the air brakes and all that stuff. And if you're not familiar with that, say you move into an area or you're looking to buy a home somewhere, and you're going to be really close to the fire station, you're going to hear sirens going off every morning, basically, as they're checking the equipment out. So that may be something to think about. Like, I don't want to hear that crap every morning. Truth for you says the firefighters are jack of all trades. I tell you what, it helps a lot. What do they say? Jack of all trades, master of none, right? And it makes good sense. You got to be able to, and I noticed that the newer generation of people coming in have less abilities with fixing stuff. Their mechanical skills are maybe a little bit weaker. Unless they had strong, maybe uncles, fathers, grandfathers that had a shop maybe, and they learned lots of cool stuff, how to build stuff, how to put stuff together with tools. The younger generation is having a lot more trouble trying to fix stuff. Now, with that said, a lot of stuff is more computer, like cars. I mean, if you were to cut a bunch of wires on a car, the thing would never run compared to years ago. So everything's a lot more electronic, and it makes it more of a pain in the ass to fix as well. But like stuff around the station, maybe fixing this or maybe taping some, some drywall or just normal stuff that years ago everybody would have known how to fix. I think we're losing that. And not so much just in the fire service, just in every aspect with the age. I heard you say police fire duty is getting shared. Now, I did do a video where basically for an active shooters, we have fire department that are responding with the police department or sheriff's department or whatever your law enforcement agency is for active shooters. I don't know if it's a new thing, a new concept that we are trying out on the West Coast, or if it's a nationwide kind of thing. All the departments are starting to work with their organizations of law enforcement and work together as a team, try to get quicker responses into buildings for active shooters and be able to get those victims and hostages out so that we can bandage them up, send them to the hospital, get them fixed before they bleed out and die. So yeah, I did do one on that, but I would jump over to that video if you have any questions. I think that video came out pretty good. There's a lot of stuff involved in it. We're basically looking like the police department. We're wearing Kevlar helmets, full body armor vests. The only difference is we have gear that's going to bandage people up, tourniquets, that kind of stuff, and those guys are carrying, firearms and handcuffs and that kind of stuff. So that's the difference. But we look really, really close to what they look like. And I'm kind of, in that video, is basically what is the community, what is the community's thoughts on that? Was us working more knitly with the police department, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Because the perception of the police department is not great right now. And will it ruin the fire department's perception of what the people think about the fire department? Because right now the fire department has a pretty good, as far as trust, right? Use the word trust. The community, for the most part, can trust the fire department with stuff. They'll let them into the house and work on them because they called 911. Where if a policeman knocks on the door, it's like, oh shit, why is there a policeman at the door? So the trust there is a lot different, and that's just kind of how it is. But yeah, that video is pretty good. I think it's about an hour long, maybe a little longer. But it's good if you want to know about the topic of how we're integrating with the fire department and the police together as a group to go respond to these incidents that you never would have thought of 25 years ago. Yes, good temp measurements. If you put a piece of bacon on your helmet, then if it starts sizzling, you're having fun. For sure. I like that. Truth Freeze. Good job. Let's see. After a year, it never even woke me up. So yeah, see, it takes a while. If you're new and you moved into a nearby fire station, it could be a nightmare for you. Let's see. Truth Freeze. We live next door to a fire hall. Used a super loud siren with every call. Made all the dogs and neighbors crazy. Yeah, you know what? And that sucks too, because basically when you're running code 3, legally you're required to run with your lights. If you have your lights on, you're supposed to have your sirens on as well. If you're out in the middle of nowhere and there's no traffic, I turn them off. Half the time I respond to calls without the lights on, because all it does is screw up the people in front of you. They're like, oh shit, what do I do? And especially depending on what town you go in, it's almost safer just not to. But if you got to respond and you need to move traffic, and if you guys don't know, pull over to the right. So many dumbasses, they either park right in the middle or they go to the left. Just pull to the right. Let's see. But yeah, those sirens, the coyotes get all crazy, the dogs start howling, the neighbors get all pissed, especially if you're a busy house and it's all night long, even all day long. It's annoying. I mean, my old house where I lived, there was an ambulance unit that used to park down the hill at one of the restaurants, and they'd probably run a call every 30 minutes or so. And they had this one, I don't know what kind of siren it was. Holy shit. It almost felt like the windows were shaking. It was a weird, like low, I don't know, it was like almost a UK kind of siren, but it was like, I don't know, it was weird. I can't even explain it, but it was crazy. I hated that thing. Then finally they moved to it. They posted at a different place. They call the fireman. Let's see. I can't remember who. Let's see. Oh, they had a 100-foot stationary siren for the town. Now they have radios. Yeah, if you're, say it's a department, especially if it's a volunteer department where, that siren calls in all the additional help. Everybody's at work doing whatever their kind of work they're doing, and then there's an emergency, and those volunteers need to be able to hear that so they can get to the call. So yeah, that's going to be a pain in the ass and loud. Seconds count with fire. They do. They really do. You'd be amazed if you were to start a fire in this room, and you can take the first minute to the third minute, or to the 5th or the 10th minute, and you would be astonished. And especially nowadays, I'm not sure if you guys know this, but fires back, long time ago, everything was made of natural stuff, right? Like these couches would be filled with cotton. This is a leather couch, but like all natural materials, whatever the case is, like fabrics and linens, would be on the back of here. And when this stuff would catch fire, it would catch fire, but it was a lot slower. It was a lot cooler. Now with like polypropylenes and all the poly this and the plastic shit, plastic is just a solid state fuel. It's a gas basically that's just been shaped and made into some type of material. Like vinyl siding on a house, that's just solid state fuel, that's on a house, just waiting to get a heat source. So as the fires and the polys and all this kind of crap start evolving, and people are, newer high-tech gadgetry, right? People are coming up with lighter, better, faster materials. Well, all these materials have some state of basically a higher burning rooms. So with that said, you're going to get a completely different fire than you would have 30 years ago or 50 years ago compared to nowadays. Firefighters save lives. Cops will beat your ass after you've been cuffed. That's I've seen it happen. Most fires are from synthetics and fumes. Yeah, most people die. They don't even see fire before they die. Like say this room was on fire. We're in the basement right now, the little Isyour6covered bat cave, right? And as the smoke travels, even on wildland fires, like a chimney is basically a chute where the hot pressed gases and stuff go. Well, the crews up on the hill way up there, they may not even see flames, but that heat is so hot, that they're basically burning their insides, and they never even saw flame. So the same thing with a structure fire. You can have, and the chemicals are a lot nastier, right? It's like, what would be a good example? It's like burning wood, like normal, clean, burning dry wood compared to like some oily tire or something. It's just the off gases and the smoke and the fumes are just that much more nasty. I watched a trailer go in 4.35 minutes. So 4 minutes, 35 seconds. Effing scary. Yeah, trailers, houses, thing that's bad with the trailer is you have the ability to get air from the bottom as well. So that, it has a lot to do. Heat, fuel, and oxygen, guys. It's the fire triangle, or the tetrahedron if you want to get into it, is a chemical chain reaction. So you don't need anything. But basically, if you just standardize it and go with the triangle, if you break one of the things, if you take the fuel away, the fire goes out. If you take the oxygen away, the fire goes out, or the heat. But with that said, there's a lot of stuff. Once you start getting that oxygen pumping in that house, especially having an ability to come from underneath in the floor ducts and all that kind of stuff, those things burn quick. And they're not made, because they're transporting them down the street, or if it's a mobile home or a motor home or whatever the case is. So the material's thinner. Maybe you're not using 2x6s, maybe you're using 1x3s, or whatever they're using for the structure of it. You thought so? Let's see. Got Stewart design plus fire can be black as can be. Truthfully, yeah, the fire can be. Well, basically any fire that's burning good. If like say you're at camping, right? And you got perfect dry wood and everything's burning good and nobody's like closing their eyes because there's a shit ton of smoke, it means you have good combustion. It means everything is working perfect. You got the right heat with the right fuel and the right oxygen. Everything's working good. Now you throw in some wet old leaves and some shit on there. Now your fuel and all that stuff has changed, right? So now you're getting a lot more smoke. Same thing with a structure fire. You can go into some structure fires that are on fire and everything's burning really good, and you can really see there's not as much smoke, right? Especially if it's been ventilated or going out the windows where it's getting oxygen, and it's free burning really nice. And then as soon as you put it out or you take some of the heat out of it, the smoke just drops to the floor. Or if you spray it with the wrong type of nozzle, if you're hitting it with the fog, you above you when you're crawling through smoke is basically layers of heat. And at the top, it's the hottest, of course. And now I go in there with the nozzle and I spray it, and now I change all those levels. Turns it into a big bucket of shit, and all the heat and steam comes right down on you. Your visibility goes to shit. Sometimes it's better to leave the fire burning. Maybe you're trying to search that room before you go ahead and knock that down so you can actually see before you move on to the next one. Because you're just going to drop smoke. Not smoke, steam, smoke. All that's going to go basically to the floor. Let's see here. Let me go back out to the comments. Let's see. Got a neighbor that lit a trash fire in the middle of a drought and caught his entire yard on fire and my bushes. If I hadn't spotted it, ran over with the hose, it would have got my yard too. Yeah, you know what's funny? Every year, I work in California, if you guys aren't familiar. Every year they say it's going to be the worst fire season ever, and sometimes it is. But you'll get people and they'll think, "Oh man, I need to mow my grass now." It's already brown, it's already just, and they'll go out there with weed eaters and they'll do stuff, and maybe they're using metal blades, and they're creating sparks and actually catching fires, trying to be fire, to prevent fires in their area. And they're actually starting fires. And then you have the dumbass that's out there and he's welding his fence, and he's cutting it maybe with the acetylene torch or whatever, and he's blowing sparks all over the place. And like, oh, I didn't know that was going to catch on fire. It's like, yeah, you're dumb. So yeah, you got to be smart about that stuff. Whether it's just mowing your grass, not so much your yard grass, like the perfect green square, right? But the other stuff, like you go, oh, I really need to knock those weeds down around the fence or on the property or whatever. That's when you really got to pay attention. Maybe carry a fire extinguisher with you, a big old jug of water, something. You got to have something. Vinyl siding burns quick, gives off gases and dark smoke. Yes. I kind of talked about that a little bit ago. Yeah, it's basically a solid state gas. It's just gas shaped. It's liquid fuel that's been shaped into a solid form that's waiting to catch fire. Sweet, nice country. I used to haul out of Petrolia. Oh yeah, most people are consumed by the organ thing tonight. Yeah, I tell you what, there's a lot going on. I think a lot of people did stuff they shouldn't have done. But I'm definitely not going to talk about that tonight. Are they up to version 15 yet? Probably. Yeah, exactly. Wait for the dust to settle. Get all the information. I know Haas UMC, he did a video and he's pretty pissed. But yeah, until you know everything, that's the problem. Is a lot of people don't because they're not there. And you can't believe what they say, because depending on what side of the fence they're on, they're going to portray it as that. But let's see. I need to make sure I'm not. Yeah. Oh, see, I'm at an hour, guys. That's the rule. I'm out of here in an hour. I'm going to be saying goodbye to you guys right now, but I want to read the rest of your things. 6, I bet TR called his insurance company to get cheaper rates as he has a fireman next door. Yeah, we're about 25 minutes, 30 minutes away. Let's see. Tell you what, with all the snow we've had, it's been crazy. Yeah, I was using my grinder in the shop. BC truck said, with my shop doors open, some sparks got out the door and caught my grass on fire. There you go. That's exactly what happens. It's true. People do it. They're obviously not trying to catch a fire, or start a fire, but as they say, shit happens, and unfortunately, sometimes, and it sounds like you caught it right away, but you may be so in tune and grinding whatever you're grinding, the whole yard could be on fire and moving fast, wind driven down to your neighbor's yard, maybe lose their house or whatever the case is, and you could still be in there not even knowing anything's going on. Yeah, TR is always trying to buy more ammo, especially now that he's got his Glock. I heard many fires from fire ash. Heard many a fire from fireplace ash. Cleans days later, smoldering. Yeah, people they will basically take. I don't know if this is what you're getting at, Truth Freeze, but basically, they had a good fire maybe a day ago, whatever the case is, and they're like, oh, maybe the wife says, hey, you need to clean all that shit out of the fireplace. So they put it in a bucket or whatever it is, and they throw it in the trash. And a lot of fires get started that way. A lot of embers, depending on if you have screens on your fireplaces, depending on what kind of depending on what type of fireplace you have. You may have a gas fireplace and trying to burn wood out of it. So a gas fireplace just has like an exhaust at the end of it, almost like a washer and dryer. It just comes out of a little port with a little flap, keep the rain out, basically. If someone's not familiar with that, you can really screw stuff up. You're going to be like, why is all this smoke in the house? Because more than likely, if you build something big enough, it's not going to be able to get rid of it all, so it's going to be coming in. What else we got? Thanks, 6. Cool chat. Jake's rock. Mucho respect. Thanks, man. Thanks, Frank L. Yeah, I'm gonna kill this chat just because I'm gonna try to keep it in an hour. Try to keep them short. And but I appreciate you guys showing up. We're up to 148 people watching. That might be a little off, but it's all good. No, we got 9 watching right now, and I think I saw 11, maybe more. But I really appreciate you guys showing up, giving your great comments out there, helping to make the chat roll a little bit. I think for the most part in the beginning of the video, I stayed on topic. I didn't get too shiny object on us, but I appreciate everything. So like we say, I'll give a recap. Team. There's no I in team. If you're going to be in the fire service, don't say I, say we. But other than that, you guys have a great night. Appreciate it again. Thanks so much. Looks like everybody out there is a subscriber of mine, so I really appreciate it. Stuart Design. And who else? Let me make sure I give kudos to everybody here. We got Frank L, Fuzz Fork 8, Truth Free, Stuart Design 101, BC Truck Rebuild, Repair, and Repurpose. We got Frank L, I said. Who else is in here? Truth Freeze. I said Gimp Geek earlier. I'll scroll up. You guys did a lot of chatting tonight on the side panel here. I like it. Keep it up. Truth Freeze again. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, Captain Pizza was in the house. Dan Ulch, weapons machinist, and A4. Hopefully figured out his answer. 420 Homestead, and dang, lots of chat. Let's see. I think I got everybody. I think Gimp Geek was in here. But with that said, you guys rock. Have a great night. Stay safe. Make sure you guys check your smoke detectors and fire extinguishers. Now, I say this quite a bit, but there is a reason for it. A lot of people every year die because their smoke detector either is inoperable because someone took this battery out because it was doing its job and annoyed somebody. If you have one like that that annoys you because maybe it's too close to the kitchen, take it down and move it somewhere else, maybe a little farther away. Make sure you got them in your rooms, around your rooms, in the hallways, towards your room, depending on how your house is set up, and if it's multi-level or whatever the case is. Have an extinguisher. If you're going to be, all you guys out there are kind of the prepper guys for the most part. Oh, Pocahontas McDonald's out there. Make sure you guys spend a little bit of money and at least have a couple fire extinguishers and at least a couple smoke detectors, or smoke alarms, as they say. All right, so I appreciate it again. Peace, love to all you guys. Stay safe, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks again. Fuzzfork8, what's up, buddy? All right, you guys, take care. Bye-bye.